Yeah, it's Kira. The new boss is already at the site. We're gonna head over that way now. Okay, people, this is day one of Horizon Australia. We need to get these cars over to the festival site at Byron Bay.
Listen up, Australia. This is Scott, coming to you live from Horizon Radio. We've traveled halfway across the world, and I can't believe we're finally here.
I'm looking out the window, and I have to tell you, they have beaches here to take your breath.
They may call this the land down under, baby, but all I'm saying is I've never seen anything less down or under.
Big, and it's hot, and the roads are just wide open.
Bro, we're talking fast cars, cool beats, summer sun,
Classic style,
blazing days, banging nights,
burnt rubber,
wild parties,
and exotic animals. So put your pedal to the floor as we welcome you to Horizon Australia for the biggest, the best, the most out-of-control event in the history of the Horizon Festival.
I'm not afraid to use them.
get ready for the wild.
A brake overhaul, Warren. I left that thing with you for a brake overhaul.
Oh, g'day, Kira. What'd you say? Something about brakes?
We're taking the Great Ocean Road to Byron. Just please, don't do anything stupid.
Summer, what do you think of the place? It may not look it yet, but over the summer you're going to turn this into the biggest Horizon festival the world has ever seen. We have an amazing team keeping the festival running, but everything else is on you. You'll be choosing the type of racing we do, the music we play, and the star drivers we sign. This is your festival. Listen, I know you've just arrived, but the very first event starts in a few minutes, and I've got you the best seat in the house. You'll be driving the buggy for the launch event against that Jeep. Thought I'd start you off with an easy one. Let you loosen up. What? I said easy, not boring.
People live in those houses, watch out! Left, left, right! Watch out for those,
Okay, Warren. Pilot screen. Call it when you're ready to drop.
Righto, there's the finish line. Cut me loose!
What a way to start the party! keep pulling in fans at this rate and we'll have to start thinking about expanding the festival.
Nice driving, boss. Name's Warren, resident car tragic. I know you're in charge, but I'm your bloke in the garage. So you need anything car-related, you come to me. Oh, one more thing before we go, though. Kira said you might want to drive the Centenario. Okay, boss. To really start bringing in the fans and scouting drivers, we need to get you racing. For that, you'll need your car. Mustang, nice. Biggest engine by cubic centimeter wins. You'd be surprised how often that strategy works. How about a vanity plate? Sum up your personality in 8 characters or less?
First Byron Bay, then Australia, then... Actually, I think we might just stay in Australia. It's awfully nice here.
Welcome to the auto show. Love your work so far, boss. Kira said I should get you set up with another car for this next set of races. Take a look at these, and whichever you fancy is yours to keep. I know we like to say Horizon is all about the music and cars, but you know what? The painters deserve a shout too. Some of the stuff these guys produce should be in a gallery. You can check out what paint jobs people have done here and choose one for your car. All right, so this is your new car. You can just stay here and admire her beauty if you like. Or if you want to add any visual upgrades, just let me know. When you're done, just drive her out into the festival. This is the garage. This is where you come to paint or upgrade your car. Or just to visit me. You're asking me for advice? With car shopping? I've been waiting my whole life for this. Here we go. I've done my homework. Any of these would be perfect for you. We keep records of every tuning job, so you can look over any of your old setups, or if you wanted to exercise festival boss privileges and borrow somebody else's, I wouldn't be able to stop you.
There it is, Horizon Outback. It's like 50 degrees in the shade and these people are still having the time of their lives. Whatever you're doing out there, keep doing it.
I've been checking out the festival, making new friends. Most of them are cars, but you know. Speaking of, you're here to collect another one, yeah? This is Horizon Online. In Horizon Online, coming first isn't everything. Make it clean, make it stylish, make it look good, and you could earn as much XP as the bloke out in front. You've got 3 ways to play. In Online Adventure, we'll set you up with a bunch of great events all over the country. You and your friends can get straight into the action. All you have to do is drive. Online Free Roam lets you choose your own adventure. We'll turn you and your mates loose on this wide open land. Take some cars out of the garage, run events, tick off the bucket list, or just roam till the sun goes down. And now, for the first time, you can play a Horizon campaign in co-op. Work with your mates to make Horizon Australia the biggest Horizon there's ever been. And everything you do in co-op still counts in your solo campaign. So don't be shy.
Voila! Horizon Yarra Valley. Rolling hills, green fields, lush forests. I knew Australia was pretty, but now I think it's just showing off.
This Horizon Festival just gets bigger and bigger, doesn't it? You're gonna need some new wheels just to get around the place. I just took a shipment of novelty horns. Come on, boss, you know you want one. Go on. Here you can get old cars, rare cars, custom cars, and stunning paint jobs. Some big buyers and sellers here. Look around and see what catches your eye. This is the paint shop. Design a paint job yourself or see what those other artsy kids out there at Horizon are spraying. Okay, so you're not fussed about the ingredients, you just want the cake. Not a problem. You set a performance target and I'll put together all the parts to get you there. If your car needs some new shoes, we can take care of it here. Boss, some quick tyre talk. When you leave Blizzard Mountain, I'll swap any of your cars fitted with snow tyres back to off-road tyres. Saves you a job. If you go back, I'll do the opposite. What can I say about Alpha? They've always been a racing powerhouse. I mean, these guys won the first ever Automobile World Championship and the first ever Formula One race. They were pioneers of variable valve timing, fuel injection, double overhead cams. But all most of us really care about with Alfa Romeos is that they're drop-dead gorgeous. The great man himself, Henry Ford, said, "When I see an Alfa Romeo go by, I tip my hat." What to say about this? The M12 Force Application Vehicle. The finest auto ever to roll off the AMG Transport Dynamics production line. Colloquially known as the Warthog. It sports an 8003cc, 8-litre liquid-cooled hydrogen-injected engine and a near-indestructible polycarbonate body. Just what you need when you're dodging searing hot balls of plasma. Ferrari and Porsche may have their F1 and Le Mans championship records, but this helped save humanity. And it didn't just do it once, it did it like a dozen times. I could tell you that Astons are exquisitely beautiful, balanced from every angle, and golden ratio sculpted to within an inch of their existence. And they are. But when I say Aston Martin, all you're gonna think of is James Bond, right? And you should. Its popularity started with Goldfinger, 1964. After that movie, rumor has it the company had to double production of the DB5 just to keep up with demand. About 50 years, 20 Bond movies, and countless dead baddies later, the DB5 was back on screen in Skyfall, just as glorious as ever. The name's Warren. It's just Warren. Audi changed the auto industry when they came out with Quattro, a four-wheel driving system designed for road cars. It was also pretty good at rallying. The Quattro A1 debuted in Monte Carlo in 1983 and won races in Sweden and Portugal. The A2 won 8 world rallies, 3 in '83 and 5 in '84. See, they were in a category, Group B, which removed almost all design and power restrictions. So the cars were glorious, but the crashes were deadly. Too often. And that was that for Group B. But the spirit lives on in Quattro GmbH, Audi's high-performance car division. let's see, what have I got for you here? Well, BMW Motorsport, that's what the M stands for, in case you were wondering, have been turning high-end autos into high-performance races since 1972. They won touring car events all over the place in the 70s. British touring car, Italian Super Turismo, French Super Touring, something like 17 European and 4 World Championships altogether. No? You want more? All right. You know the BMW logo with the 4 quadrants? Most people think it's an aeroplane propeller. It's not. It represents the Bavarian flag. Should I keep going, or...? If the aliens ever land and put humanity on trial, and they ask us to justify our existence, I'm going to show them the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel and the Bugatti Veyron. And if that's not enough, then we're doomed. This is it. This is the best we can do. One of the fastest, most powerful, most advanced, most expensive production cars there is. Top speed of 268 miles per hour. Only 450 ever to be made. After they finish custom designing, building, and testing each one, they prep and clean it for 2 to 3 days in a light tunnel. People have called it the greatest car we'll see in our lifetime. Who am I to argue? Chevrolet was founded in 1913 as a partnership between a bloke called William Durand from General Motors and a famous mechanic and race car driver by the name of Louis Chevrolet. Louis was born in Switzerland and grew up in France and Canada, and then somehow ended up putting his name on the most American cars of the century, like the Camaro and the Corvette. Now they're one of the biggest names in the business, right up there with Ford and Dodge. Personally, I'm glad they went with Chevrolet. How are you supposed to abbreviate Durant? Jury? Ranty? Those are rubbish. Here's how you build a Dodge Viper. You want to build a successor to the old Shelby Cobra, a 60s racer with 90s tech, right? So you need to stick a big engine in a small sports car frame. How big an engine? Well, how about a V10 8-liter and the biggest production car engine in the world? You stick it in, and it's so big you have to build the rest of the car around it. To cover it, you need a hood so big that it's one of the most expensive replacement parts on the American market. So, was it all worth it? Well, yes, obviously. Have you seen this thing? What do you want me to say about Ferrari? I mean, come on. They're Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari was a perfectionist who allegedly used to live above his workshop so he could tinker and fiddle with his cars at all hours of the night. He and his racing team could lay claim to just about every major Formula One record, and probably the color red as well. His name is one of the biggest brands on earth. Every year, Ferraris get even faster, even more high-tech, and even more expensive. And people will still sell their own mothers to get their hands on one. I mean, I would. Sorry, Mum. Henry Ford didn't just change the auto industry. He changed America. He changed the world. He actually worked for Thomas Edison in the 1890s as an engineer, so he knew something about invention, and he knew a lot about business. The famous assembly line production technique he perfected wasn't just the best way to build cars, it made them affordable for average people, which made his market bigger. And he expanded internationally to make it even bigger than that. He might be an interesting figure in history, but you can't argue with the empire he left behind. Jaguar actually started out as a company making motorcycle sidecars in 1922, but they got into building cars in 1935. They've been the makers of the fastest production car in the world twice, and they've won Le Mans 7 times, but come on. You don't buy a Jag because it's quick. You buy a Jag because it's a Jag. The performance, the reputation, even the name is stylish. Enzo Ferrari said that the Jaguar E-Type was the most beautiful car ever made. And Enzo knew a thing or two about good-looking cars. In 1940, the US Army asked automakers for a light, versatile, reliable 4x4. Something that could carry troops and equipment across any kind of terrain. Something that could go everywhere, do everything. The automakers went one better and built the Jeep. This thing was so good, Eisenhower said it was one of the keys to winning the war. And GIs loved it so much, they all wanted one when they got home. So they put out the CJ2A, civilian Jeep, in 1945. These days, they make everything from the sporty Wrangler to the luxury Grand Wagoneer. Thankfully, you don't have to take them into battle. Koenigsegg's are scary cars. They're built in a former military jet hangar, and each one has a ghost painted on the back for the emblem of the squadron that used to fly out of the base. They've got things like triplex suspension and air core carbon fiber wheels. In 2005, the CCR became the fastest production car on Earth when it clocked 241.63 miles per hour, dethroning the McLaren F1. And legend has it, a Koenigsegg CCR got popped for the fastest speeding ticket in the history of the United States. 242 miles per hour, 167 miles over the speed limit. Seriously scary cars. I love this story. You ready? Ferruccio Lamborghini owned a successful tractor factory in Italy and wanted better quality parts for his Ferrari. But Enzo Ferrari wasn't about to listen to some tractor mechanic, so he told Lamborghini to jog on. And the rest is history. The first Lambo had a V12 with 2 overhead camshafts per cylinder bank, which was twice as many as Ferrari. Nowadays, Lamborghinis have sharp angles, massive wings, raked windshields, a raging bull on the badge, and those cool scissor door things, all of which Ferraris definitely do not have. Lancia. If you think they're not the biggest or most impressive name, then get out your history books, because I'm about to teach you a lesson. Been around since 1906. First integrated electrical system in a European production car. First 5-speed gearbox. First monocoque chassis. First V4 engine. First production V6 engine. And don't even get me started on rally racing. They had to withdraw from the circuit in 1993, but they're still the #1 manufacturer in World Rally Championship history, with 10 WRC manufacturer titles and 6 driver championships. There. Hope you learned something. Lotus is really interesting because their founder, Colin Chapman, who was an auto design legend and a very clever man, always valued lightweightedness over engine power. He said, adding power makes you faster on the straights. Subtracting weight makes you faster everywhere. So Lotus did things like the monocoque fiberglass body, active suspension, and a rear engine chassis. Of course, that meant everybody else pinched their technology, but still. They were an F1 powerhouse with 82 race wins and 7 championships, even when some of Colin's zanier ideas, like ground effects and non-functional spare wheels, got banned. Maserati was started by 6 brothers: Alfieri, Bindo, Carlo, Mario, Ettore, and Ernesto. And Harpo and Zeppo and Groucho. Seriously though, these boys knew how to style a car. Maserati believes to this day that perfection takes time. Allegedly, each individual vehicle takes over a month to build and inspect before it ever leaves the factory floor. They also knew how to race. They won back-to-back Indy 500s in 39 and 40, and they won the Formula One Drivers' Championship in 57. They announced they were retiring from the racing circuit in 1957, but they made a triumphant return in 2005 and won 14 FIA GT titles in 6 years. Mazda's history is a bit of a roller coaster. They started out as a cork company in the 1920s, and their first vehicle wasn't even a car, but a 3-wheeled truck called the Mazda Go. In 1960, they produced their first coupe, and then it was only 7 years before a high-performance tuning division was formed that would become Mazda Speed. They won Le Mans in 1991 before the Wankel engine they used was permanently banned from the event. They did strike gold with the Miata, a zippy little roadster which, with over 940,000 of them on the road and counting, holds the record for the best-selling 2-seat convertible. Bruce McLaren grew up the son of a service station owner in Auckland, New Zealand. He won his first Grand Prix when he was 22, the youngest in history to do it. His motto was, "There is no finish line," which explains a lot. They built the fastest, most advanced, and most famous supercar of the 90s, the McLaren F1. But that's nothing compared to the McLaren Technology Centre, which is their headquarters. It's a 500,000 square metre site in Woking, UK, and has multiple lakes. They've come an awfully long way from the service station. So, most companies use a robotic assembly line these days. Makes sense, right? At Mercedes-AMG, every engine is assembled from start to finish by one technician. One. They start with a blank engine block and install every component. And after the engine has been tested, they make a plaque with the technician's signature and attach it to the engine cover. Yep, they're so good and so rare that Pagani put them in their supercars too. To paraphrase the great Janis Joplin, "Oh Lord, won't you buy me a hand-built AMG-tuned Mercedes-Benz?" The Mini was actually built as a solution to the British oil crisis of the 1950s. But a man named John Cooper looked at it and saw a race car. He must have seemed a bit mad, but the bloke designed and built F1 cars for a living. So I guess people figured he knew what he was talking about. And did he ever? The new high-performance Mini Cooper S that he helped develop won the Monte Carlo Rally 3 times in the 1960s. Nowadays, you can't throw a brick without hitting a Mini Cooper. At 5.3 million sold, it's the most popular British car ever made. The humble Mitsubishi Lancer is actually one of the greatest rally cars ever made. It's been racing all over the world since the 70s, and it's won some of the harshest races, like the East African Safari Rally. In the 90s, it finally got its dues when it won 4 straight World Rally Championship drivers' titles. Meanwhile, back here in the real world with real road surfaces, Mitsubishi turned it into a real performance vehicle with the Evolution models featuring a 2-litre turbocharged engine and 4-wheel drive. Nissan has a long history going all the way back to the birth of the Japanese auto industry. But most importantly, their cars have always looked good and been an absolute hoot to drive. They've made some of the best-selling sports cars ever, like the 510 and the 240Z. The Nissan 240SX was popular because it had a powerful engine in the front and its drive wheels in the rear. Know what that means? It drifts like it's on ice. Nissan picked up its first international win on its very first try right here at the 1958 Australia Mobile Gas Trial. A Ram first showed up on a Dodge as far back as 1932 as a hood ornament, and the official Dodge Ram pickup appeared in 1981. But now they're so well known that Ram Trucks has been spun off into its own brand. Everybody knows those big fenders and front grills that look like they came off a semi-truck. You might not know that the 2004 SRT actually had the Dodge Viper 8.3-litre V10 under the hood, so it was the fastest production truck in the world. You know, in case you need to move a load exactly 1/4 mile in less than 14 seconds. Subaru started making their own cars in '54 with the P1. Then in the 80s and 90s, they made the XT and the SVX, which were snazzy and futuristic. When they made the Brat light truck, they stuck rear-facing seats in the cargo tray and called it a passenger vehicle to avoid the US anti-truck tariffs. Then came the Legacy, the first time people saw that Subaru knew a thing or two about building rally cars. And then the Impreza, which won a whole bunch of World Rally Championships. The Justy hatchback and the Forester SUV have both set world speed records for their class. Have I missed any? Don't think so. Toyota was a textile plant in the 1920s. Now, they're not just one of the biggest automakers in the world, they're one of the biggest companies, full stop. The top-selling car on Earth is the Toyota Corolla. If you took all the Corollas ever sold, that's over 40 million of them, and put them end to end, they'd circle the globe 4 times. And speaking of going round and round in circles, the Toyota team races Camrys on the NASCAR circuit. To date, they've won 79 races in 8 seasons of competing. Probably cranked up every time if I know Toyotas. Here's how you build a Dodge Viper. You want to build a successor to the old Shelby Cobra, a 60s racer with 90s tech, right? So you need to stick a big engine in a small sports car frame. How big an engine? Well, how about a V10 8-litre and the biggest production car engine in the world? You stick it in, and it's so big you have to build the rest of the car around it. To cover it, you need a hood so big that it's one of the most expensive replacement parts on the American market. So, was it all worth it? Well, yes, obviously. Have you seen this thing? You find these little places tucked away everywhere if you know where to look. Maroondah Dam. Beautiful, isn't it? Appreciate it from a distance, yeah, but don't go swimming. We gotta drink that. Doesn't get any better than this. These are the Glass House Mountains. The indigenous people of this area say they're a family, but they're having a fight. That's why they're all facing different directions. How great is that? The Great Ocean Road. 250 k's winding along the shipwreck coast. To most people, it's a tourist attraction. To Horizon, it's a challenge. That's Silver Sands Beach. It's just indecent, isn't it? I wouldn't even be game to set foot on that sand. I'd get it all dirty. Welcome to Surfer's Paradise. Skyscrapers just a stone's throw from the beach. I mean, literally. Get me a stone and I'll show you. Sometimes in life you have to stop and appreciate the view. Or at least slow down to second gear or something. Look at this place. Ormiston Gorge. Australia's an old country. One thing we have got is serious rocks. Yeah, it's something weird to do with algae, salinity and temperature. I don't really understand it, but yep, it's a lake, and it's pink. Kind of scary when you realise how much of Australia's just big and flat and red like this. It's pretty though. Welcome to the outback. The 12 Apostles. What do you think? Yeah, I know there's only 8 of them. We can count, we just don't like changing the names of things. This is Cape Byron, easternmost point of mainland Australia. So, you know, go and wave at New Zealand or something. My uniquely tuned automotive psychic senses are telling me that there is an abandoned classic nearby. Or maybe I just heard a rumour. You know, either way. Ready? I'm ready. We're ready. Oh, it's beautiful. Well, I mean, you know, it's a bit covered in mud and slime and whatever that thing is, but, oh, boss, that is a Ferrari Dino under there. Let me get it back to the shop and cleaned up. Then you'll see what I'm talking about. Remember that Ferrari Dino we found? Well, you should see her now. Come on down. Not just a Dino, a 246 GT with the bigger engine. Runs as smooth as it did the day it rolled off the production line. It took a little while to get that smell out of the seats, though. I heard someone in the auto shop talking about an old classic hiding out in a barn nearby. Do us a favour and get there first, would ya? Okay, time to open her up. '69 Dodge Charger Daytona. Look at the size of that wing. This is a custom NASCAR racer. What's it doing all the way out here? I'll get the Charger back to the shop, see if I can get it fixed up and maybe find out how it wandered so far from home in the first place. That 69 Daytona Charger's ready for pickup. And wait till you hear the story behind it. So, I did a bit of background on this one. Turns out the guy imported it to modify for the Australian touring car circuit. Never finished it, but at least he saved it from a life of going round in circles all day on a NASCAR track. Oh, this festival, I tell you what, you should have seen me on the dance floor last night. The nice security bloke even gave me a lead on another abandoned classic when he was escorting me out. I promised I'd pass it on. Oh, I love this part. That's an FX. That's the first ute Holden ever made. That is Australia's gift to the motoring world, right there. However, this one smells like it's had goats living in it. I'll take it back to the garage. You just wait till I get it cleaned up and retuned. Mate, I've got that Holden FX ute purring. Come down and get it when you're ready. There it is, the FX ute. The beginning of two fine Australian traditions. Putting trays on the backs of muscle cars and abbreviating words that don't really need abbreviating. Just caught another rumour about another dusty old barn with another abandoned classic in it. Am I the only one who still gets all tingly with excitement every time you hear about another one of these? Best part of my job, right here. Old Land Cruiser, nice. You can't kill a Land Cruiser. They kept bringing out new models, but they really shouldn't have bothered. All the ones from the 70s are still running fine. I'll still take the Landy back to the garage, give it a once-over. I'll let you know when you can have it. Come down and visit. Got that Land Cruiser restored for you. My dad had one of these. Never took it off-road, never got it dirty, never drove it much faster than 50. That's probably why I take after my mum.
For the next one.
More grist for the rumour mill, mate. Abandoned car waiting in a rundown shack someplace. Go do your thing. Let's see what all the fuss was about. It's a Reliant Regal. This is a classic piece of British motoring history. You keep digging up classics at this rate, and this time next year, you'll be a millionaire. I'll get this cute little guy fixed up. Should still be a hoot to drive when it's finished. That majestic 67 Reliant Regal Supervan's ready for you to collect. I know it's only got 3 wheels. I know you only need a motorbike license to drive one. I know it was a running joke on British telly, but, you know, I just can't help but love this thing. Apparently there's a classic car sitting around in a barn near here, just gathering dust. Sounds like an appalling waste to me. What do you reckon? Would you like to do the honours? That is a Lamborghini, believe it or not. The LM002 was supposed to be a luxury car you could take off-road. Looks like this one's been hitting the dirt too hard. The suspension's gone. I'll take this back to the shop. Replace the springs, clean it up. Won't take long. Want to come and collect this big Lambo 4x4 thing for me? You have no idea what a nightmare it was finding parts for this thing. Guess now we know why the previous owner gave up on it. Still, runs like a dream now. It's all yours. Hey, somebody sent me an anonymous tip about another abandoned classic out there. I don't know why they had to be anonymous, but we like rumors, right? I knew we'd find it. We always do. Whoa, cool! It's a Volvo, but what a Volvo. Front engine, rear drive sports car. And if it's the one I think it is, it's famous. Come on, let's get it out of here. Go away! Go away! I can't work with you watching. I'll call you when it's ready. That Volvo we found is ready to go. Come on down. In association? There it is. Volvo 1800E. Fuel-injected engine, 130 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in 9.6 seconds. Oh, and it's the car Roger Moore drove in the Saint. Yep, you heard that right. Mate, we got another one. With all these rumours flying around, we're going to have to start collecting classic cars. Or, you know, barns. Every day is like Christmas morning with you. It's a Jag. Oh yes, it's a Jag. Mark II, if I'm not mistaken. 3.8-litre engine, racing livery. But none of that matters, right? I mean, it's a Jag. You feel classy just standing near it. I'll take it back to the shop and get it restored. I'll be in touch soon. Mate, when you're ready to move up in the world, I have a restored Jag Mark II waiting for you. This thing was so quick back in the 60s that every crook had one for a getaway car. So the police started driving them too. See? Car culture, bringing people together since 1959. Sounds like we've got another one for Warren's rescue home for wayward and abandoned classic cars. Go find it for me, will ya? Okay, wow me. Dune buggy, cool. This is a Myers Manx. I always wanted one of these when I was a kid. Actually, I wanted a Lamborghini Countach, but I figured I couldn't take it on the beach. I'll take it back to the shop. We'll have you blasting across the dunes in no time. Hey, mate, that souped-up Myers dune buggy's ready for you. Only a 1.5 litre engine, but a full fiberglass body so it weighs nothing. Should go like the clappers. And it's street legal. What are you waiting for? So, Jenny in the paint shop heard from Raj in the showroom, who heard from Malcolm on the stage crew, who heard from Ben, the hot dog vendor bloke, who said there's a classic car sitting around in an old abandoned building somewhere. What do you reckon? Sounds solid to me. Come on, what have you got for me? I can't even see it under there. Is that... No, it can't be. It looks like one of the rarest and most valuable Maseratis ever made, currently being used as a bookshelf. Mate, if I'm right, this is huge. Give me a chance to get it fixed up at the shop, yeah? Hope you're sitting down, mate. I was right. That Maserati we found is an A6 GCS, and it's ready. Get down here. The Pininfarina Berlinetta. They made 4 of these. 4, that's it. And now we're standing in front of one. I'm telling you, this feeling is what I live for. Another rumour about an abandoned classic. Isn't it brilliant? I swear I'd quit my job and go looking for these things full-time if I didn't already have the best job in the world.
Arrived at your destination.
I am way too excited right now. 73 Falcon XB, 5.8 litre V8, main force patrol interceptor, fuel-injected suicide machine. You might have to give me a minute. Yeah, sorry about that outburst. It's an Australian thing. I'll get it cleaned up and report back. Oi! Got your XB Falcon down here, ready to pick up. With this much horsepower, you will rule the wasteland. I asked the Horizon people if I could put on some spikes and crossbows and a flamethrower, but they said no. Mate, I know you're busy driving really fast and listening to music really loud, but when you have a spare moment, I hear there's a car for the taking in a barn nearby. Come on, the suspense is killing me. No way is that a Ford Woody. It is. It's a Ford Woody. This thing is like a priceless antique. It's like finding a Rembrandt in your garage. Well, for me it is. I'm taking you back to the shop, surfboard and all. I'll let you know when you can have it. I've got that Ford Woody Super Deluxe all polished up and ready to roll. Remember that suitcase we found on the roof? It was full of clothes from the 50s. Someone must have shipped this thing out just after the war. Talk about a blast from the past. If you're out driving and see an old tumble-down barn, mate, better stop and have a look. A little bird told me there's a classic car hidden in there. And open her up. Will you look at those lines? This isn't just any Ferrari, this is a 166. First car they ever won Le Mans with. The car that started it all. And the poor thing looks like it's been sandblasted. I'm taking this Ferrari back to the garage and restoring it to its former glory. I'll call you when I'm done. An engine tune-up, a coat of paint, and that Ferrari 166 looks good as new if you want to come get it. This thing didn't just win Le Mans. That same year, 49, it won the Targa Florio and the Mille Miglia as well. Hence, 166mm. This is what it's like to be a car nerd. I heard some kids saying they were going looking for an old abandoned car tonight after the big dubstep concert. I don't know what a dubstep is, but the car thing seemed legit. And who's our next contestant? Looks like a Skyline GTR. The V-Spec. Back in the 90s, these things ran riot in the Aussie touring car circuit. I'll get it back to the shop and get to work. Feel free to check in if you like. One Skyline GTR V-Spec, mate. Ready to collect when you are. They nicknamed the V-Spec Godzilla. Something about being Japanese and monstering the competition. I don't know. I think it's just misunderstood and needs to be loved. I just heard a rumor about a car abandoned in a barn not far from here, but I'm up to my elbows in a Subaru right now. Do us a favor and go and have a look. This is gonna be a good one, I just know it. Oh, boss, we stand in the presence of greatness. The Holden Sandman. See that faded paint? That's the Sea Witch livery. It's not a custom job. Holden had it like that in the brochure. Back to the garage. I'll get this fixed up and give you a call, all right? Soon as you're ready, come on down and collect that Sandman. It's a sight to see. You have to understand, this isn't just a car. This is a changing room. It's a mobile surf club. It's a drive-in cinema. It's a one-bedroom flat. It's an institution. I'm hearing funny things about another abandoned car. Admittedly, I hear a lot of funny things about abandoned cars, but this time I heard Datsun, so I'm interested. Go find it for me. Let's see what all the fuss was about. Looks like a Skyline GTR. Looks like this one's been hitting the dirt too hard. The suspension's gone. All right, leave this beast with me. I'll clean her up and report back. big market for Japanese imports out here. Being so close, it's pretty cheap and easy. Of course, it's cheaper and easier to find one in a barn, but we can't all be that lucky. I was wandering around the auto show yesterday, and I heard some people talking. They were going looking for another abandoned classic, but shh, don't tell them. You and me are gonna find it first. Aha! Snooze, you lose, whoever you are. Time to open her up. Oh, nice, nice! It's a Sunbeam Tiger. This thing has a Ford V8 under the hood, spec'd by Carroll Shelby himself. Bit dusty, rust on the trim, but otherwise it looks pretty good to me. I'll have the Tiger ready soon as I can. This thing needs to be driven. Got that Sunbeam Tiger ready for you, boss. Come drive it out of here before I do. All right, we shouldn't laugh, but you know what I think happened to this one? Someone left the top down in a storm. Rain fried all the electrics. But you're not going to do that, are you? Are you? Mate, I keep hearing funny things about an old barn with a classic car inside. You should go check it out. The car, not the barn, obviously. Why would I? Oh, never mind. Shall we? It's a Holden Monaro GTS 350, 5.7 litre V8, circa 1973. Sorry, it's just this is an emotional moment for an Australian. I'm taking the Monaro back to the shop. I just need some time alone with this thing. You can have it soon. You'd better come and get this Monaro GTS or I'm never going to be able to part with it. You know what I found when I started working on it? The entire frame was twisted. That's how much torque this thing has off the line. Brings a proud tear to your eye, doesn't it? Boss, visibility is low, but this is the spot. Let me know when you're ready to drop. Floor it, mate. See you at the bottom. Looks like you got company. Snow tyres should just about hold up on that frozen lake, boss. As long as it stays frozen. Boss, did you just... I think a child built that. There you are in one piece. Never doubted you for a second. Hey, boss, you sure you don't want me to put snow tyres on that for you? Hey, boss, you'll probably find it easier if I put snow tyres on the car. Come back to the garage, I'll get you fixed up. I heard a few years back they had to close this park because of the avalanche risk. They go down the mountain at like 200 miles an hour. That just sounds like a challenge to me. Will you look at that? Beautiful. Pristine. Is it wrong that I just want to blow across it in a V8 and rip the handbrake? There you go. Australia. Also available in white. I've never been much of a wintry type. You know, give me a nice warm garage any day, but this is nice. Why do we climb the mountain? Because it's there. Also, the view's nice, and you can go really fast on the way down. Mate, you're not going to believe this, but sounds like somebody left a car abandoned out there on Blizzard Mountain. Go find him, eh? Poor little fella must be freezing. Yep, definitely should have brought a jumper. I think that's a Harvester Scout. How did it get here? Not even here as in the mountain, here as in Australia. Or whatever, let's get him back to a warm garage. I was right. It is a Harvester Scout. Rarer than a Yeti. Let me work on it. I'll call you when it's ready. Mate, that Harvester Scout's ready when you are. Back at the garage. This is the 800A. They built them in Indiana, USA. So I did some detective work. This American bloke came out here to work at the resort, brought his truck along. He thought the cold finally killed it. Guess it was just cryogenically frozen for you. Incredible, aren't they? I mean, sure, they look the part, but just wait till we get them out there. Trust me, you're gonna see things from a whole new perspective. Horizon Hot Wheels. Our team's been busy building the largest, fastest, and most extreme island the world has ever seen. Pinch yourself, boss, it's real. Loop the loop! I never had one of those. Yeah, forgot to mention, we're still putting the finishing touches on the track. Giant mechanical dinosaurs. We spared no expense. Here it is, boss. Horizon Hot Wheels. You check the place out. I'm gonna go find the toy box. Might not fit in your pocket, but it'll go a lot faster. Boss, get a load of this. One of the Hot Wheels people comes up to me and says, I heard a rumour about a car abandoned in an old building around here. Isn't that weird? I just smiled and said, nah. You reckon we could get Hot Wheels to make us little barns to keep our classic car models in? Look at that. That's old. That's ancient. It's a Ford Deluxe, the coupe, I think, 1930-something. And to think, now we drive through the sky on roads made of orange plastic. How far we've come. I'll get him back to the auto show for a spit and polish. Should come up looking a treat. Hey, quit playing with your toys and come and collect this Ford Deluxe, will you? Turns out it's the 5-window coupe, 1932. When this thing came out, a brand new one had set you back a cool $500. Yep. Ever feel like maybe you were born in the wrong year?